Today, I want to share something both powerful and subtle, something that lives in the delicate balance between presence and absence. We all know that human connection is one of the deepest needs we carry in our hearts. But sometimes, to truly be valued, to truly be missed, we must master the art of restraint. This is where the Mirage Method comes alive. Think of a mirage in the desert. It's not tangible, yet it holds the power to capture attention, stir desire, and make someone yearn for it. This method works in relationships the same way. When you stop flooding someone's world with your constant availability, when you pull back with quiet confidence, you become a mystery, a vision they crave but cannot immediately hold. The key is not manipulation, but self-respect, creating space where longing can grow. When you apply the Mirage Method, you shift the energy. Instead of chasing, you allow curiosity to build. Instead of giving everything all at once, you let your silence speak louder than your words. This is not about playing games. It's about protecting your value and allowing someone else to truly appreciate your presence. The truth is, people don't miss what's always in front of them. They miss what once lit their world and now feels just out of reach. By embodying confidence, setting boundaries and radiating calm mystery, you transform into that mirage. And when they realize your absence, they will be drawn back to your light with a force they cannot ignore. So, my message is simple: don't beg for love. Don't demand attention. Become unforgettable by pulling back with grace. Allow the Mirage Method to remind him of what life feels like without your spark. And watch how quickly he begins to miss you. When we think about vulnerability, many people mistake it for weakness. They imagine it as exposing too much of themselves, risking rejection, or being seen as fragile. But the truth is, vulnerability is the deepest form of courage we can embody. When it comes to relationships, especially in the context of making someone miss you, vulnerability becomes the quiet power that draws people closer, even when you're not physically present. The Mirage Method is not about manipulation or trickery, but about creating a natural sense of longing. And vulnerability plays a central role in that. When you step back and create distance, you're not building walls. You're simply allowing yourself to breathe, to be grounded in your own value, and to let someone else recognize what they may have taken for granted. To do this effectively, you must embrace vulnerability. Vulnerability says, I don't need to prove my worth by constantly being available. I trust that my absence will speak for itself. This kind of confidence is born from vulnerability, the willingness to let go of control and see how the other person responds without you pushing or chasing. It is vulnerable to step back because the human heart often longs to hold on tighter, to explain, to demand. But true strength lies in resisting that urge and allowing silence to create its own echo. Think about the way we miss someone. It isn't when they overwhelm our lives with constant presence. It's when there's a space, a pause, a quiet moment where we realize we long for their energy. Vulnerability is in trusting that space, in resisting the temptation to fill it with calls, texts, or desperate gestures. Vulnerability is in showing that you are not afraid of being unseen for a while, that you know your presence is memorable enough to echo even when you are gone. This is powerful because it communicates self-respect and self-assurance, and those qualities are magnetic. There's a delicate balance here. Vulnerability doesn't mean you confess every insecurity, nor does it mean that you make yourself so scarce that you push someone away completely. It's about showing your humanity while also maintaining your dignity. When you are vulnerable, you are honest with yourself and with others about what you feel, but you are not afraid to risk being misunderstood or even unappreciated. Vulnerability is standing tall in the truth of who you are and not shrinking to please someone else. That truth is what makes someone miss you, because authenticity resonates deeply. The Mirage Method works because it combines the mystery of distance with the courage of vulnerability. Imagine you suddenly stop filling every silence with messages, stop being available at every moment, and instead you create space. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. You may worry that he will forget, that he won't care. That fear is vulnerability talking. But instead of hiding it, you lean into it. You recognize that love is always a risk, and that risk is the price of connection. If he misses you, it will be because you trusted yourself enough to step back. If he doesn't, then you have protected your dignity by not chasing someone unwilling to value your presence. Either way, vulnerability protects you while still keeping your heart open. Strength is not in pretending you don't care. Strength is in caring deeply, but refusing to settle for less than mutual respect. It's easy to play games, to manipulate, to pretend to be indifferent. But indifference is not vulnerability, it's avoidance. Vulnerability is far braver. Vulnerability says, I do care, I do want to be seen, but I will not lose myself just to hold on to you. That is where the Mirage Method becomes something more profound than just a tactic. It becomes an act of self-love. By stepping back, you allow the other person to feel your absence. But by doing so with honesty and vulnerability, you remind yourself of your worth. There's another important layer to this. Vulnerability helps us accept uncertainty, and uncertainty is the very fuel of longing. If someone knows they can have you at any time, there's no space for yearning. But if they feel that hint of uncertainty, that you may not always be there, that you are strong enough to walk away if you are not valued, suddenly your presence becomes precious. Vulnerability is what allows you to live in that uncertainty without fear, to accept that you cannot control someone else's feelings or actions, but you can control how you show up in the relationship. That willingness to risk the unknown is what makes you unforgettable. When people miss you, it is not just about the physical absence. They miss the energy, the presence, the feeling of being seen by you. Vulnerability ensures that when you are with them, you are fully present, authentic, and open. You are not hiding behind masks or facades. And when you step back, it is that genuine presence they remember. They don't miss a performance, they miss the real you. That's why vulnerability is so essential, because it ensures that what they long for is not an illusion, but the authentic soul you revealed when you were together. Let's also understand that vulnerability builds connection not through perfection, but through imperfection. When you allow someone to see your true self, your flaws, your laughter, your doubts, and your dreams, you give them something real to hold on to. When you then withdraw slightly, when you practice the Mirage Method, what they miss is not just your company, it's the authenticity of who you are. That authenticity lingers like an echo, and it is far more powerful than any carefully calculated act. Vulnerability ensures that your absence is felt deeply because your presence was real. In the end, the strength of vulnerability lies in trust. Trust in yourself, trust in your worth, trust in the idea that you do not have to explain or prove yourself to be remembered. The Mirage Method becomes powerful when paired with this kind of trust. Instead of clinging or demanding, you allow the relationship to breathe, to stretch, to reveal whether it has the strength to survive space. Vulnerability makes you brave enough to let that test happen, and strength makes you steady enough to accept the outcome. So when we talk about making someone miss you, understand that it is not about playing cold or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about embodying vulnerability as strength, showing your authentic self when you are present, and trusting that your absence will make that authenticity impossible to forget. The Mirage Method only works when it is fueled by vulnerability, because vulnerability is what ensures that you are not hiding, not manipulating, but courageously showing up as you are. And in that courage lies your true power, the power to be missed not just for what you do, but for who you are. When we talk about relationships and human connection, we often speak about love, trust, and intimacy, but one of the most overlooked aspects is boundaries. Boundaries are not walls that keep people out, nor are they barriers that make us cold or distant. Boundaries are the framework through which respect is cultivated. Without them, relationships easily slip into imbalance, into taking rather than giving, into assumption rather than appreciation. And if we want someone to miss us, if we want them to value our presence when we are gone, boundaries are the quiet yet powerful signal that tells them we are not to be taken for granted. Boundaries are not selfish. They are acts of self-respect. They tell the world that your time, your energy, and your presence matter. And when you live with that kind of clarity, others begin to treat you with the same value you place on yourself. Think of it this way: if you are always available, always answering immediately, always giving without pause, the other person will never feel the absence of your presence. They will never have the chance to wonder, to long, or to truly appreciate. Boundaries create that space, not by shutting someone out, but by reminding them that your attention is a gift, not an obligation. Consider the Mirage Method in this light. Its power lies in scarcity and mystery, but that only works when boundaries are in place. Boundaries mean you don't pour your energy into endless availability. They mean you can say no when you need rest. You can step back without apology. You can prioritize your own growth and peace without guilt. Boundaries communicate that while you are loving, you are not limitless, and while you are giving, you are not endlessly expendable. This is not arrogance, this is dignity. When a man sees that you are not willing to compromise your worth for constant attention, respect begins to grow. And with respect comes longing, because respect always magnifies value. Boundaries also prevent the erosion of your identity. In so many relationships, people lose themselves in the desire to please, to hold on, to keep the connection alive at any cost. They answer every message instantly. They say yes when their heart says no. They silence their needs for fear of conflict. And what happens? The relationship begins to feel unbalanced. One person gives, the other takes, and eventually the giver feels invisible. Boundaries protect against this by reminding both people that individuality is sacred. You do not need to dissolve into someone else to be loved. In fact, dissolving makes you invisible. Boundaries keep you visible, and that visibility is what makes you unforgettable when you step away. Think about the things we respect in life. We respect those who know their value, who don't tolerate disrespect, who stand firm in their truth. We respect scarcity. We respect the diamond more than the pebble, the masterpiece more than the copy. Not because the pebble or the copy has no worth, but because the diamond and the masterpiece remind us that not everything is easily obtained. Boundaries turn you into that rare presence, that rare energy. By not overextending yourself, you become someone who is respected not just for what you give, but for what you protect. And in that protection, your presence grows more valuable. Respect is also the foundation of healthy desire. Without respect, desire fades. If someone knows they can treat you poorly, and you will still stay, if they know they can take without giving, and you will still offer yourself fully, desire loses its flame. Boundaries rekindle that flame because they remind the other person that your love is precious, that it must be nurtured and cherished. They begin to realize that access to you is not guaranteed, and that realization makes your absence more potent. They begin to miss you not because you withheld in a manipulative way, but because your presence has weight. And when that weight is gone, the silence is undeniable. Boundaries are also acts of teaching. Without words, they teach others how to treat us. If you always accept last-minute plans, you teach someone that your time has no structure. If you accept disrespect without protest, you teach them that disrespect is permissible. If you never say no, you teach them that your yes has no power. Boundaries reverse that teaching. They show others that your time has worth, your yes is sacred, and your presence is a privilege, not a guarantee. And when someone learns that, they don't just respect you in the moment. They miss you deeply when you are gone, because your absence now carries meaning. It is important to understand that boundaries do not push love away, they actually deepen it. Love without respect is not love at all. It is possession. And possession cannot create longing, only expectation. Respect, however, nurtures love into something more profound, something that grows stronger with space. Boundaries invite someone to love you not because you give them everything without limit, but because you stand as someone whole and complete, someone who chooses to share rather than needing to. That choice makes love stronger. And when you step back, that choice becomes even clearer, because they realize that you could be elsewhere, you could be focusing on yourself, but you have chosen at times to give your energy to them. That realization is what makes them miss you with intensity. It takes courage to hold boundaries, because there will always be moments when fear whispers that saying no will push them away, that creating space will make them forget. But the truth is the opposite. When boundaries are respected, attraction grows. It is in the space that longing is born. It is in the pause that appreciation awakens. By holding your boundaries, you are not creating distance to punish, but to protect the sanctity of your love and your worth. And that protection is what makes someone realize they must rise to the occasion to keep you in their life. Without boundaries, relationships crumble under the weight of imbalance. With boundaries, they thrive in mutual respect. Boundaries are not the enemy of connection. They are the soil from which connection grows. They say, I know who I am. I know what I deserve. And if you want to walk this path with me, it must be with honor. That kind of clarity does not repel love, it strengthens it. And when someone experiences that kind of strength in you, when they know they cannot cross your lines without consequence, they do not forget it. When you are absent, they do not just miss the laughter, the touch, the moments. They miss the integrity, the dignity, the unwavering presence of someone who knew their value. So if you want someone to miss you, if you want your absence to echo in their heart, remember this: it is not about how much you give, but about how wisely you give it. Boundaries make your giving precious. Boundaries make your presence rare. Boundaries make your love unforgettable. And when you step back, when the Mirage Method takes form, it is the boundaries that make them feel the ache, the longing, the desire to have you near again. Because in the end, boundaries are not a barrier to love. They are the very thing that makes love worth missing. When we look around at the world, one truth becomes clear: what is rare is valuable. It has always been that way. Diamonds are treasured because they are scarce, not because they are the only stones that shine. Gold is coveted because it is harder to find than iron, not because it is the only metal with beauty. The same principle applies in relationships and human connection. When something is always available, always present, always within reach, we unconsciously begin to take it for granted. But when something becomes scarce, when its presence is not guaranteed, it suddenly grows in value. Scarcity is not about manipulation or playing games, but about recognizing the deep psychological truth that absence creates appreciation. This is the heart of why the Mirage Method works. Think for a moment about the times you have missed someone. Did you miss them when they were constantly in front of you, always calling, always messaging, always there to answer? Or did you miss them when there was space, when their voice wasn't filling your day, when their absence made the silence feel louder than any words could? Scarcity creates that longing. It transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary memories. It makes us realize that what we had is not endless, that it must be treasured before it slips away. This is why creating a sense of scarcity through healthy distance is so powerful. It awakens awareness in the other person of how much you truly mean to them. The mistake many people make is believing that, by being endlessly available, by constantly proving their loyalty, they will be valued more. But constant presence often breeds complacency. When every call is answered immediately, when every request is fulfilled without pause, the other person unconsciously begins to assume that this is normal, that it will always be there, that they never have to worry about losing it. And in that assumption, the sense of value diminishes. Scarcity interrupts this pattern. It says, I am here, but I am not limitless. My energy is not infinite. My love is powerful, but it is not to be taken for granted. And that shift creates a profound change in how someone experiences your presence. Consider the way we treat time. When we have endless hours, we waste them scrolling, drifting, letting minutes slip through our fingers without thought. But when time is short, when a deadline looms, when a precious moment is fleeting, we hold on to it, we savor it, we value every second. The same principle applies in relationships. If you are always available, your time begins to feel infinite and its value fades. But when you step back, when you allow scarcity to exist, suddenly your time becomes precious, your presence becomes rare, and every moment with you is seen as a gift rather than a given. Scarcity is also what keeps desire alive. Desire thrives on anticipation, on the gap between what we want and when we can have it. If desire is always instantly fulfilled, it loses its edge, it dulls into routine. But when there is a pause, when there is distance, when someone cannot instantly reach you, the desire intensifies. They begin to imagine, to wonder, to long. That longing is what creates missing, and that missing is what makes them come closer with more intention than before. Scarcity does not weaken connection. It strengthens it, because it keeps the fire of desire burning through absence. Some may fear that scarcity will push someone away, that if they are not always available, they will be forgotten. But the opposite is true. What is easily obtained is easily forgotten. What requires effort, what carries weight, what is rare enough to feel unique. Those are the things people remember. Scarcity doesn't erase your presence, it amplifies it. When you are not constantly there, your memory lingers louder. When you are not endlessly available, your value grows higher. People miss what they cannot immediately have, and they miss most deeply what once felt so close yet now requires effort to reach. Think about great works of art, about treasures hidden in museums or artifacts locked behind glass. People travel across the world, stand in lines, pay money, and wait hours just to catch a glimpse. Why? Because those things are scarce. They cannot be found on every street corner. They cannot be bought cheaply. Their value is tied to their rarity. The same is true for your presence. When you live without boundaries, when you are constantly available, you become like a common pebble, still beautiful, still real, but overlooked. When you hold yourself with dignity, when you create scarcity, you become like that masterpiece, rare, unforgettable, desired. Scarcity also reveals truth in relationships. When you step back and create distance, when you allow someone to feel your absence, you give them the chance to show you what they are willing to do to keep you. If they do not miss you, if they do not reach back, then you have gained clarity. If they do miss you, if they come closer, if they begin to value your presence more deeply, then you have strengthened the bond. Either way, scarcity uncovers reality. It shows who is there out of habit and who is there out of genuine desire. Another dimension to scarcity is how it cultivates gratitude. When something is always present, we rarely pause to say thank you. We assume it, we expect it, we overlook it. But when it is scarce, gratitude flows naturally. We appreciate the moment because we know it is not endless. By stepping back, by creating that sense of rarity, you allow the other person to rediscover gratitude for you. They begin to say, I miss the way she made me laugh. I miss the way her presence felt like light. I miss the energy she brought into the room. That gratitude grows not because you forced it, but because scarcity made space for it to awaken. Scarcity also protects your energy. When you give endlessly, when you are always pouring into others, your own well runs dry. But when you create space, when you step back, you refill yourself. You nurture your spirit, you grow, you heal, you strengthen. And when you return, you bring a renewed energy that is even more magnetic. Scarcity is not just about making the other person miss you. It is about valuing yourself enough to step away and recharge. That act of self-love makes you more radiant, and radiance is impossible to ignore. Ultimately, scarcity creates value because it reminds us of a universal truth: nothing lasts forever. Time is finite, energy is finite. Love, though infinite in spirit, must be nurtured and respected to grow. When you embody this truth in your relationships, when you create scarcity with grace and dignity, you awaken in others the deep awareness that you are not to be taken for granted. They begin to miss you, not because you vanished, but because your absence reminded them of just how valuable your presence truly is. So, when you want someone to miss you, don't think in terms of more calls, more texts, more availability. Think in terms of less chasing, less explaining, less constant presence. Create space, allow absence, let scarcity remind them of your value. Because it is not in the overflow that appreciation is born. It is in the pause, in the silence, in the distance. Scarcity does not diminish love. It magnifies it. And when someone realizes that you are not endlessly available, when they feel that ache of missing you, they will come to see you not as common, but as rare. And what is rare is always treasured. There is something undeniably captivating about mystery. It has a way of drawing us in, of holding our attention, of keeping us awake at night wondering, imagining, reaching for something just out of reach. Mystery is not deception, and it is not about hiding who you are. Mystery is about allowing space for curiosity, about leaving room for discovery, about letting someone realize that there are layers to you they have not yet explored. In the context of relationships, mystery is not only powerful, it is essential. When you reveal everything all at once, when you pour your entire being into another person immediately, you leave nothing for them to discover. But when you hold back just enough, when you leave questions unanswered and stories untold, you create intrigue. And intrigue is what deepens connection. Think about the books you love the most. Were they the ones that laid everything out on the first page, giving away every plot twist, every secret, every ending? Or were they the ones that unfolded slowly, revealing pieces chapter by chapter, keeping you turning pages with anticipation? Relationships work the same way. If someone knows every detail of you in the first few weeks, if you hand over every story, every thought, every mystery without pause, the intrigue vanishes. But if you reveal yourself slowly, authentically, naturally, you create a sense of wonder. They begin to feel that you are not a simple book with one chapter, but an entire library waiting to be discovered. That sense of depth is what keeps them connected and makes them miss you when you are absent. Mystery works hand in hand with the Mirage Method because absence itself creates a form of mystery. When you are not always available, when you step back and allow silence to linger, questions begin to form. What is she doing? Who is she with? What is on her mind? What is she building in her life? Those questions don't arise when you are constantly updating, constantly explaining, constantly offering access to every detail of your day. Mystery grows in the space where explanation ends. And that growth fuels connection, because curiosity is a form of investment. When someone is curious about you, they are thinking of you. And when they are thinking of you, they are missing you. But it is important to understand that mystery is not about playing games. It's not about pretending to be someone you are not or intentionally withholding in a manipulative way. True mystery is about living fully for yourself. It is about having passions, dreams, and experiences that are not all tied to another person. It is about nurturing your own world so that when someone steps into it, they realize there is always more to learn, always more to see, always more to experience with you. A person who lives only for another person becomes predictable. A person who lives fully for themselves becomes fascinating. And fascination is what keeps connection alive. Mystery also works because it breaks routine. Human beings crave novelty. We are wired to seek newness, to be energized by discovery. When everything is predictable, when every day unfolds the same way, desire fades. But when there is mystery, when there are surprises, when there are moments of the unexpected, connection deepens. You do not have to be mysterious in a theatrical sense, but simply by keeping parts of your world private, by having passions and projects that are yours alone, you create a sense of ongoing discovery. When someone realizes that they will never truly have all of you figured out, they keep leaning in. They keep seeking. They keep connecting. And when you step away, they feel the void of that intrigue, and they miss you. Mystery is also a form of respect for yourself and for the relationship. When you choose not to reveal everything at once, you are respecting the natural pace of intimacy. You are saying, you have not earned every part of me yet, and that is okay. We will get there in time. That pacing builds anticipation, and anticipation builds depth. It makes every moment more meaningful because it is not rushed, it is not consumed too quickly, it is savored. Mystery is the art of pacing love, of letting it unfold slowly so that each layer adds richness to the connection. Without mystery, relationships can burn too hot and too fast, collapsing under the weight of too much too soon. With mystery, relationships grow like fire nurtured with care, steady, strong, and enduring. When we think of mystery, we must also think of silence. Silence itself is one of the most powerful forms of mystery. When you do not rush to explain yourself, when you allow pauses in conversation, when you are comfortable with not always filling the air, you create space for the other person to wonder. That wondering is not empty, it is active, it is alive. It makes them lean closer, listen harder, ask more. Silence is not absence of connection, it is the fuel for deeper connection. And when you step back for longer periods, when you allow days without constant interaction, that silence grows into longing. They miss you not because you are gone, but because the mystery of your absence is alive in their mind. Mystery also requires confidence. It takes confidence to know that you do not need to explain every action, to justify every choice, to hand over every detail. It takes confidence to say, I trust that who I am is enough, and you will discover me as time goes on. That kind of confidence is magnetic. It makes people feel that they are in the presence of someone secure, someone who is not desperate for validation, someone who carries their own sense of worth. Confidence and mystery together are irresistible. They make someone want to stay, to explore, to commit. And when you pull back, when you let the Mirage Method take hold, it is that combination of confidence and mystery that keeps them longing for you. The beauty of mystery is that it never truly ends. Even in long relationships, even in decades of love, there are always new layers to discover. The people who remain fascinating are the ones who continue to grow, who continue to surprise, who continue to nurture parts of themselves beyond the relationship. Mystery deepens connection not just in the beginning, but throughout, because it reminds us that love is not about fully possessing another person. Love is about continually discovering them. And when you live as someone who holds mystery with grace, you become unforgettable. When you are absent, they do not just miss your presence. They miss the discovery, the surprises, the unfolding that comes with being near you. So when you think of making someone miss you, do not think only of distance, but of depth. Create a life that is layered, that is rich, that is not entirely revealed at once. Let your silence carry questions. Let your passions create intrigue. Let your growth surprise them. Mystery is not a trick, it is a truth. That no one can ever be fully known, and that love is about continually choosing to discover. The more you embrace that truth, the more powerful your presence becomes. And when you step away, the mystery lingers like a whisper in their mind, calling them back, making them miss you in ways they cannot ignore. In the end, mystery is the art of remaining unforgettable. It is the gentle pull that keeps someone thinking of you long after the conversation has ended, long after the evening has passed, long after you have walked out of the room. It is the spark that makes them want to know more, to see more, to be closer. And when combined with the Mirage Method, mystery becomes a force so powerful that your absence does not weaken connection. It strengthens it. They will miss you not only because of who you are, but because of all that you represent: depth, intrigue, and the endless promise of discovery. When we talk about making someone miss you, when we talk about attraction and connection, it is tempting to believe that playing games is the answer. We hear advice everywhere: don't text back too soon, pretend to be busy, act like you don't care even if you do. And while these tactics may create a temporary reaction, they rarely create real connection. Why? Because games are built on pretense, and pretense can never hold the weight of love. Authenticity, on the other hand, is magnetic. It is sustainable. It is the foundation for respect, and respect is what makes someone miss you long after the moment has passed. The Mirage Method only works when it is rooted in authenticity. Without it, it is just another game. And games collapse when the mask falls away. Authenticity is about being real in who you are, in what you feel, and in how you live. It means not pretending to be cold when your heart is warm, not acting indifferent when you care deeply, not hiding your light to make someone chase shadows. It means showing up as yourself, honest, vulnerable, human, while still holding your worth and refusing to overgive. Authenticity says, I am not going to play with you. I am going to show you who I am, and if you miss me, it will be because you miss the truth of me, not a version I created to get a reaction. This kind of strength is far more powerful than any game, because it is rooted in something real, and what is real is unforgettable. Games may win attention, but authenticity wins respect. Attention fades quickly, respect lingers. Someone may notice when you delay a reply, but they will not long for you because of that. They will long for you when they realize that your presence carries honesty, that your laughter is genuine, that your energy is consistent, that what you give is not forced but freely chosen. People miss authenticity because authenticity is rare. So much of the world is built on appearances, on masks, on trying to be what others want us to be. When you refuse to live that way, when you stand in truth, you become memorable. Your absence is felt more deeply because your presence was real. Authenticity also eliminates the exhausting cycle of pretense. Games require constant calculation: when to call, when not to call, when to reveal, when to hide. That is not freedom, that is performance. And performances eventually crumble. But when you are authentic, you don't need to calculate. You don't need to rehearse. You simply live in alignment with your values, your truth, and your boundaries. This creates consistency, and consistency builds trust. When trust is present, someone misses you not just because you were fun or exciting, but because you were safe, you were steady, you were real. That kind of longing is much stronger than anything built on manipulation. Now, authenticity does not mean you reveal everything to everyone all at once. It does not mean oversharing or handing over every detail of your soul without discernment. It means that whatever you do share is true. If you care, you care. If you need space, you ask for space. If you step back, it is not to punish but to protect your energy. That honesty builds a bond, and that bond is what creates missing. When you are gone, they do not just miss a companion. They miss the truth of you. The way you showed up without pretense, the way you allowed them to see the real person behind the mask. Authenticity also protects you. When you play games, you tie your worth to someone else's reaction. You are constantly measuring, constantly waiting to see if they chase, if they call, if they notice. But when you are authentic, you release that need. You no longer seek validation in someone else's behavior. You stand in your worth and know that whoever values the real, you will come closer, and whoever does not is not meant to stay. This protects your heart from unnecessary disappointment and allows you to hold your dignity even in absence. And when you step away with that kind of self-respect, the other person feels it. They miss you because you are not dependent, because you are whole, because you are authentic. Think of the people you remember most in your life. Chances are they were not the ones who played games with you. They were the ones who made you feel something real. They were the ones who showed you honesty, who revealed parts of themselves without fear, who connected with you in a way that went beyond surface attraction. We don't miss the people who manipulated us. We miss the people who made us feel safe, alive, and seen. That is the power of authenticity. It creates memories rooted in truth, and truth lingers far longer than tricks. Authenticity also deepens intimacy. Games create distance because they are built on hiding. Authenticity creates closeness because it is built on honesty. When you allow yourself to be seen, even in your imperfections, you invite someone to connect with your humanity. That connection is what makes absence difficult to bear. They miss you not because you created an illusion, but because you revealed a reality they cannot find anywhere else. That reality is irreplaceable, and when something is irreplaceable, it is always missed. In addition, authenticity builds confidence. When you no longer feel the need to play roles or manipulate outcomes, you begin to trust yourself more deeply. You learn that who you are is enough. And that kind of self-assurance radiates outward. It makes you more magnetic, more attractive, more unforgettable. People are drawn to those who are unapologetically themselves. They may not understand why at first, but they feel it. They feel the freedom, the truth, the lightness of someone who does not pretend. And when you are gone, they feel the weight of that absence, because authenticity is not something that can be replaced by anyone else. Authenticity also aligns with love itself. Real love is not about performance. It is about truth. It is about two people showing up as they are and choosing each other again and again. Games cannot create that kind of love. They can create sparks, yes, but sparks that fizzle quickly. Authenticity creates fire that lasts, fire that sustains, fire that warms even in the coldest nights of absence. If you want someone to miss you, if you want them to long for you when you are not there, the only way to do that in a lasting, meaningful way is to be authentic. Because authenticity cannot be duplicated. It is yours alone. So, when you think about making someone miss you, remember this: don't waste your energy pretending. Don't play small, don't play cold, don't play games. Show up as yourself. Show your warmth, your vulnerability, your laughter, your silence. Set your boundaries, honor your worth, and be consistent in who you are. Then, when you step back, when you allow space, they will miss you not because of a trick you played, but because of the truth you lived. And that truth will echo in their heart long after the games of others have been forgotten. In the end, authenticity is the only path to real connection. It may not always bring the fastest reaction, but it brings the truest one. And in love, truth is all that matters. Be authentic and you will never need to play games. Be authentic, and when you are gone, you will not just be missed. You will be remembered, cherished, and sought after. Because in a world full of masks, the rarest thing is someone who dares to be real.